The year was 1274, and over the East China Sea, a storm began to rise, not of nature, but of war. From the heart of the East, something far greater than wind was coming. The Mongol Empire had set its gaze upon Japan. Led by the grandson of Genghis Khan, Kublai Khan himself, his ambition to conquer the unconquered islands of Japan. 900 ships, 40 to 50,000 warriors, moving as one unstoppable tide. Mongols and Koreans united under one terrifying command. Their first target, Tsushima, a small island guarding Japan's gate. A mountain island, quiet yet vigilant, Japan's first sentinel. They sensed something unnatural in the wind, a warning carried by the sea itself. 80 samurai rose to defend their home against an empire of thousands. Their leader, So Sukekuni, stood as Japan's shield. He knew the odds, yet he chose to stand. The horizon burned with sails, an ocean of death closing in. The island braced itself for a clash it could never win, yet dared to fight. East met west, two worlds colliding in the storm's heart. Their blades sang louder than the thunder. Fire fell from the sky, the beginning of Japan's trial by flame. A handful stood against a tide, their courage, their legacy eternal. From that tiny island began a legend that would echo through the ages. Dawn of October 5th, the calm before Japan's darkest hour. Beyond the endless waters, shapes began to form, the Khan's will riding upon the sea. An iron tide approached, thousands bound for conquest. The Mongol fleet had come, an empire upon the water. From the bellies of their black ships, the horde poured onto sacred earth, the will of the Khan made flesh. They carried weapons unseen by Japan's eyes. Trained through decades of conquest, they marched as one. Even the sea could not slow their iron hooves. Siege beasts of wood and fire rolled onto the beach. Their music was thunder, their signal fear. Messengers rode like arrows, the invasion had begun. So Sukekuni gazed upon the storm made flesh, an ocean of iron and will. Barely 200 souls stood between Japan and ruin. They knew the tide of death awaited, yet not one turned his gaze away. The invaders moved like one ruthless machine. The samurai fought not as units, but as souls of honor. Sky turned black, steel met silence. The beach became a furnace, honor against order. Komoda burned, yet their spirit would not bow. On this shore, Japan's soul was tested by fire and storm. Dawn broke over Komoda Beach, and the storm of war had arrived. Despite impossible odds, So Sukekuni and his 80 warriors stood unshaken. Before them, an empire's fury stretching beyond the horizon. Retreat was unthinkable. Death itself was the path of honor. They charged, not to survive, but to become legend. The disciplined Mongol machine prepared to devour them whole. Then, impact. Chaos met courage head-on. Their swords sang the song of defiance and death. For moments, the invaders faltered, unready for such madness. Fear rippled through the ranks of the mighty Mongols. Komoda Beach became a cauldron of fire, steel, and blood. Every shot, every strike, an oath to the homeland. But the Mongol discipline soon returned, relentless and precise. A storm of arrows tore through Japanese armor. The battlefield turned crimson with sacrifice. Then came the thunder. The Mongols unleashed fire and smoke. Gunpowder screamed, split the morning sky. Confusion spread, yet still they fought like demons. Even in death, they refused surrender. Komoda Beach had fallen, but the spirit of Japan had only begun to rise. The Battle of Komoda Beach was more than war. It was a clash of worlds. The samurai fought with honor, rooted in centuries of tradition. Each warrior believed battle was sacred, a test of spirit and lineage. They announced their names, seeking worthy foes in honorable combat. But their enemy, the Mongols, answered not with honor, but with precision. They fought not as men, but as a single, unstoppable machine. Arrows darkened the sky, raining death upon the samurai ranks. Their bows, deadly composite weapons, pierced through armor with ease. Their formations were fluid, flanking with ruthless coordination. The samurai fought blind against an enemy they could not reach. Then came something Japan had never seen, the thunder of fire. Gunpowder screamed across Komoda Beach. Horses panicked, order crumbled beneath smoke and fear. The Mongols pressed forward, cold, coordinated, merciless. Yet the samurai stood, bound by honor, not fear. To them, death in battle was a gift, proof of devotion. But their honor was crushed beneath Mongol discipline and science. Every Mongol move was strategy, every strike calculated death. Tradition met technology and was torn apart. On Komoda Beach, Japan faced not just invasion, but evolution by fire. The beach of Komoda, now a graveyard of fallen honor. So Sukekuni stood, his face bathed in flame and sorrow. He fought, till the end, leading 80 souls into eternity. But the Mongols, they were the storm itself. Their thundering bombs shattered the earth beneath their feet. Bravery turned to ashes in the breath of chaos. Sukekuni's blade sang a song of fury and defiance, but even heroes are swallowed when the heavens burn. 80 men stood, none turned away. He watched his sons fall before him, yet his resolve did not waver. The enemy showed no mercy, only precision. Komoda Beach drowned in the sound of steel and fear. His body faltered under the storm of iron, yet his spirit burned brighter than fire. The warrior's breath grew heavy. Death was close. He died as he lived, with his blade buried in honor. 80 souls, gone to the wind of history. The Mongols claimed Tsushima without mercy. The island fell, its cries lost in the sea wind. Komoda Beach remembered their blood long after they were gone. Their sacrifice bought time, and time forged Japan's defense. With Tsushima fallen, the Mongol fleets sailed on, relentless, unstoppable, their eyes fixed on the next conquest, Iki Upland. The defenders saw the horizon darken with sails. They readied themselves for a fate already written. Fire rained from the heavens. The sky itself turned against them. Iki burned, its warriors crushed beneath iron thunder. Gunpowder roared, unseen terror for the samurai. In a flash, honor met fire. Their unity broke the island's will within hours. Iki followed Tsushima into silence. News spread like wildfire, reaching Kyoto's trembling court. The truth struck deep. This was no border war. The Hojo regent declared, Japan must stand united. Across the provinces, the call to arms rode with the wind. Every samurai summoned by honor and fate. Walls rose at Hakata Bay, Japan's shield of hope. Defeat had not broken them, it had forged them. The fire of Tsushima burned now in every heart. From the ashes of loss rose unity and strength. But the Mongols sailed on, blind to what awaited. This time, Japan would not fall silently. The Mongol fleet reached Hakata Bay. The heart of Japan awaited them. This time, Japan was ready. They had learned from Tsushima's flames. The invaders came again, stronger, ruthless. But the defenders had changed their ways. No duels now, only war and survival. They struck fast, vanished faster. The land itself turned against the invaders. For weeks they clashed without end or victory. Then came the night when the heavens turned against them. A storm unseen in living memory was rising. The sea itself rose in divine fury. Thousands were swallowed by the waves, the sea answering the prayers of the desperate. Iron and bone sank together beneath the storm. The fleet was shattered, the invasion broken. At dawn, the sea was still, but filled with ghosts. The Japanese watched in awe, spared by the storm. They called it Kamikaze, the divine wind. A sign, they believed, from the gods themselves. The divine wind had saved Japan, for now. The Battle of Tsushima. A small fight, yet a storm in history's making. It was the first act in the Mongol invasion of Japan. So Sukekuni and 80 samurai stood against 8,000 Mongols. They knew the odds and chose to fight anyway. It was not a war of numbers, but of spirit. Their charge was fierce, their courage absolute. Steel screamed beneath heaven's rain. Their stand, a desperate act of sacrifice. It seemed futile, yet vital beyond measure. Their sacrifice bought time, a warning to Japan. The empire heard and began to prepare. Japan forged its will and its walls of resolve. From their loss came preparation. Their loyalty burned brighter than defeat. The gods watched and waited. When the Kamikaze came, it spared Japan. The divine wind became legend. Their story became Japan's spirit, eternal, etched in blood and honor. Sometimes, the smallest spark ignites the greatest resistance.